All right, this time, folks, good afternoon. I remembered to wait a couple seconds. But anyway, welcome into Flying with Mike. Little late jump, got caught with a little update I had to do real quick to something here on the computer. But we're up and going, and yes, we are flying for the military today, folks. Simulated Air Force has us in the air today, flying the mighty Herc out of Pope, the old called Pope Air Force Base. Now, believe it or not, Pope Army Airfield, the old way they were called before the Air Force got going. So, we're going to head up to an auxiliary field up in um, the Fort Campbell area. As a matter of fact, just a few miles south and a little east of Fort Campbell. So, nice little ride. We got taking 60 troops up there to get ready for some uh, training they've got. So, all right. So, here you have it, folks. The xhanger C-130. If you want to get your paws on it, it's the exclamation mark C-130. Give you the details there in the chat room. Very simple. Looks just like this, folks. All right, there you go. Then you can get your little hands on it. Works real good in X-Plane 11. X-Plane 12, it does work. I haven't really run across any quirks other than that guy behind the wheel trying to figure out how to do a few things. But I don't think, because of the aircraft itself. Pretty sure it's just me. So, but anyway, we'll show as we go. So here we go, folks. C-130 for Simulated Air Force. Hope you enjoy the ride. Let's hop up in the cockpit, shall we? All right, and as you can tell, folks, it's raining. But I don't think the METAR says anything about rain here. I really hope X-Plane gets a grip on these METARs. Yeah. Here we go, folks. Remember how I said the last time we flew, we were taking off from clear skies with no rain? It's clear skies reported here at Pope Air Force Base, and no. Oh, wait. I see rain falling. Don't know where they get it from, folks, but somewhere, somehow, in their weather logic, it dumps rain on me everywhere I go. So, I don't get it. Hopefully, with X-Plane 12.1.0 or whatever they start the betas off with, that'll get addressed. Hopefully. If not, well, it is what it is. So, let us get to work here, shall we? All right, again, we are flying for Simulated Air Force. Now, we haven't said much, and normally we don't do a lot of flying for them, but they are a virtual special ops group. Um, so what does that mean? Well, when you're on VATSIM, when you want to I want to take this aircraft into the restricted area just west of here. Well, technically, you can't do that unless you're in a virtual special op. There's a couple of others, military areas, restricted areas, warning areas, all around North Carolina. You got Fort Bragg right next to us, so there's why that. You've got Seymour Johnson Air Force Base with fighters and tankers. Um, and then you've got the Coast Guard at Elizabethtown. So, folks, it's very heavy military area here, plus Lejeune and a few other Marine installations south of here. So, that all said, if you want to go in, do fighter ops. You got to be with a virtual special op. You cannot go shooting at each other on VATSIM unless you are. In the remarks, you have to put who you belong with so the controller would know that. if you want to simply go up and tank a fighter or tank another tanker or a cargo plane or a bomber, got to be with them. You get within that limit, VATSIM controllers start getting really upset with you. We'll put it that way. Um, Ready for a discussion of the heated sort. So, again, that's what a virtual special op is. And that's what Sim Air Force allows you. Right now, several of those VATSIM special op groups are down in Antarctica with deep freeze. It's an annual real world military operation to basically resupply the outposts that stay year round down in that super, super frigid area called Antarctica. Um, and they fly C-130s in with skis. They fly other airlines fly in there very limitedly. They're in a charter basis. Um, Helicopters, take some of the cargo and people out, the 130s, and so forth. So that's what all of that means to be a part of a virtual special op group. That you're flying military. Those of you that love the military, and or were in, a lot of people were in the military. They can continue that camaraderie there with the virtual special op. So again, check them out. It's in the chat room. If you need it, !SimAF. So a little longer than I wanted to go there, folks, but I wanted to explain why it's delineated out. The key, though, is to make sure whatever group you're with, put that in the remarks and ensure that they are a virtual special ops, because if they're not, you may have problems getting the clearance you want to do. Say you want to fly red flag, there you go. People have heard about red flag. So, all right, and this does not apply to DCS. DCS, as far as I know, cannot connect to VATSIM. So that's a whole different ball game. So again, exclamation mark here, SIM, SIMAF will get you details to how to check them out. Because they're going to train you up, if you will, like a military pilot, so you understand formations, so you understand flying low, flying in air refuel, flying fighter combat, bombers, and what the cargo planes. Folks, cargo just doesn't take off from a hard strip land on it. Sometimes we lapes drop, sometimes we airdrop. So, a lot to it. So check them out if you're interested. All right, so we are sitting here, like I said, at Pope Army Airfield. Now, you don't have to be with a virtual special op to sit here and take off from here. You would if you wanted to conduct a military mission, like go into the restricted area and drop paratroopers, because that's what Fort Bragg's all about, training up Rangers. So, they get their jump wings here. So we're kind of turned the wrong way, but that's okay. Because those buildings ahead of you, well, they actually line the separate buildings, line the flight line, and then the troops march out, enter the planes, and then they hit the runways and go out and dump them. I mean, make them jump. I mean, they jump out. If they don't get jump wings. All right, so let's pull up Sim Toolkit and let's see what's in the offering today. All right, so you can see where we are, right? We're SDZ, our airplane's like buried in there. But anyway, we're going to pop up to GSO and then cut across to Knoxville, Nashville, and then into Sabre Auxiliary Field. Oddly enough, yes, that is actually true, folks. Kilo Echo Oscar Delta. To those in the military, EOD. No, it's not the demolition group. that caught me off guard when I first thought about where do I didn't really want to go into Campbell, and I knew there was something close by, so I looked it up and I went, this might be fun. So we'll see. And if I end up having troubles there, we'll land at Campbell. All right, folks, so here we go. Loadout today. Well, we got 60 troops, 1,200 pounds of cargo, and here's our routing. Direct SDZ, then on to the Victor 373 up to Greensboro. Direct to Volunteer VOR, which just happens to be Knoxville. Then the J46 up to Nashville, and then over to our airport. Weather here? Yeah, those three-letter words sure don't seem to affect the weather engine much in X-Plane. But anyway, the winds are out of the southeast, 10 knots, clear sky, but raining. It's kind of fun to say that sometimes. 20 degrees Celsius. Up here they say 68 degrees Fahrenheit, 3008 on the altimeter. And over there at EOD, before they blow anything up, well, there isn't anything reporting in, so we'll go off of Campbell. Actually, the closest would be Clarksville Outlaw Field. I didn't actually know that it was where it was. I thought it was Hopkinsville. Oh, well. So they're probably within 5 miles of the airport. We're looking at clear skies with a touch of rain, I'm sure. 18 degrees Celsius and 3006. Sorry, Austin, I'm going to call you out when I see like this. And a northwesterly wind at 11 knots. It is breezy out here in the Midwest. All right, and again, just we'll get that pulled away. I'm going to bring in Sky Vector. We don't do that very often here on here. KPOB, KEOD, kaboom. And let me bring in the route. All right, so there you have it, folks, what we're doing. And why we, I could have, and I still may cut this part off. I just wanted to go up and do a little bit of sightseeing, but we can always cut across. We'll see. But that's the general gist. Here's Fort Campbell. That Outlaw Airport is like right where that intersection is, and then we're going right here in another restricted area. The easiest way to see restricted areas on this chart, folks, World VFR. And you're going, well, I don't see them. Well, hang on. Basically, what it is, it's a hodgepodging of sectionals. And they come together to make this look pretty good. You can see the big restricted military operating area. Gamecock down here. A lot of F-15 action in there. F-22, F-15. And the Marines out of Lejeune. And can't remember the other one. Oh, here it is. Cherry Point. There it is. Cherry Point. So, but you can just see a ton. All scattered. There's oh, that's not it. There's Seymour. Oh, yeah, where is Seymour Johnson? Oh, that's it right there. Yeah. So it gives you an idea where things are. We're right here. Here's actually Fayetteville Airport. Now, Fort Bragg also has an auxiliary airport for the helicopter. Basically, these auxiliary heliports, where all of the Apaches, the Chinooks, the Blackhawks, and Loach and Roach and all of that are in there. Yeah, I said Roach. So, and that's where we're going to head. Okay, so that takes care of that. Real quick with SimBrief, again, free application, folks, that you can go to on the web browser. I've attached it here to make certain parts of it pretty cool to see. And hang on a second, making things a little easier. All right, so let's click view. All right, so today's flight, and I'm going to switch into the briefing preview. All right, we're in the default. Remember I talk about a lot of times I'm with American's format or United's format. Well, this is if you don't select one, what comes up. All right, so it's going to give us our basic information. There's my mission number or flight number, destination, aircraft tail number, the release time. We're going from Pope to Sabre. And again, call sign Sim Air Force 18 and cruise at Mach 0.7. We'll see. Distance 460 miles. By the way, we're flying. It just breaks it down in an easier way to read. There's your winds, 287 at 63. Our fuel. Now, we don't have to put this into the FMC in the aircraft. Is it GPS? I got to remember. I think it is FMC. But if you did have an FMC that, requested a reserve, you've got some options here. So again, this is what it looks like to a pilot too. And then you've got some information on your alternate, how to get to it, how far away, the flight level you'll go to, how long, and so forth. And then here's our routing. We'll take off on runway 23, land runway 23 at EOD. And then, of course, the infamous what you would put your times and all in flight route. The part I like the neat little Facebook thing I saw earlier today. The part of flying the public never sees. The pilots huddled around computers, building up and figuring out their flight routes and what are they up against, and especially in the military world, because there's a lot more to the military flying than meets the eye, especially tanker pilots and pilots who are planning to hit a tanker for fuel or for training, because that's an art right there, folks, coming in that close, hitting that little stick in the air to then refuel you, because when you actually really need that stick in you putting fuel, you better know what you're doing so you can get it quickly. Likewise, Navy guys having to hit those little baskets to get their fuel. But anyway, it was a neat little video, what you don't see, from private pilots all the way up to the military and airline pilots. Really a neat video. So, and then you start getting the NOTAMs, the winds, and all of that. The weather, what you would expect a pilot to need to know. Now, do they read all the NOTAMs? No. I can tell you that because, and to those few out there that do, thank you. Because the majority of you don't, because we get calls, well, I didn't know I needed a prior PPR to get in. Oh, I didn't know that taxiway Kilo was closed here. I didn't know. What? Yeah, it was right there in black and white for you on the NOTAMs. Oh, by the way, you're supposed to know those. Well, it's 10 inches thick. Well, you got a lot of reading to do, don't you? So, and yes, I was a private pilot before you start sending bad emails, so I know most of the rules still, folks. Even in the 80s, we had to do that. All right, so enough of that. Let's get to what we were here to do, and let's do some flying with Mike. Shall we? All right, there we go. Sim Toolkit's away. We're already on the ACARS program, and we just need to familiarize you real quick with this cockpit. It's not the greatest, okay? I already know that. but I think xhanger for the price gives us a pretty decent product. Personally, I kind of like the Captain Sim styled cockpit for the 130 for FSX, but it too, don't get me wrong, had its issues. Nothing that's earth-shattering that stopped me from flying it, but it had its quirks and tricks and this that you had to do. Welcome to flying, folks. So, but anyway, very quick, take a look here. Basically, your six-pack right here, plus your clock, your elevator trim, and flap positions. Yes, they can really lay out some flaps. How do you think they land on that short field? Okay, they're also light on fuel too, so I'm going to go ahead while we're here, set 230, and then go from there to fine tune it for our purposes of flying. All right, so we got the yoke down here. As you can see, for the most part, it's not in the way. If it does get in the way, why? We'll get rid of it. Why? We'll bring it back, just like any airplane. And then I'm going to set my radar altimeter to 400. The one thing I don't like about this plane, it's not that I can't pop out things. I can't, well, these are letting me. Now, why wouldn't it earlier on the altimeter? Well, the altimeter we can't. Oh, on the altitude. I had to, oh, now it is. Well, oh, I know what it is. Now I just did it because you just saw it go in and out. You get it back to 22 arc. Wait a minute. Is it 22 or 23? Okay, I thought I was going the right way. All right. What it is I can't mouse it, okay, like you can most airplanes. That's a bummer. Get over it. It's what I've told myself. Okay, engine instruments are pretty good. But again, the overall look of the panel isn't, I don't, the few 130s I've been in at the airport and air shows and had the, I can't tell you if it's good fortune or bad fortune to fly on one. They are loud in that cargo bay. I had earplugs and the Mickey Mouse ears over, and I still couldn't hear you talking to me out there. And this is when I was in my early 20s. So, all right, so that's one thing, but that's the real world C-130. We're not talking this, flight sim. All right, so the red button here brings up this, which allows you to get rid of the co-pilot. Come on, hat switch. Which, I'm sorry, I really don't like having over there. I know some of you love flying with your co-pilots. Sorry, I like it empty. I can display the sign outside. I can either put the pods for fuel, external fuel here or not. And I can actually load the JATO, but I don't think the JATO actually works. Conversely, in the Captain Sim version for FSX, it did work. So again, you just work with what you got, folks. That's all you got to do. All right, now over here, jump panel, and basically this is telling them in the back it's good to jump or stand clear. We're getting ready to let the cargo go for the airdrop. And then back here is where we tidy the airplane up. And as you can see out here, the cargo bay is coming up, the chocks are away, and all the doors are closed. Okay. Like I said, you do have the Co-pilot side, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the yokes. They really are not needed, folks. If I remember right, hey, hang on. Where that check mark is if you click it. Yeah, you know what? Let me get over here. Yeah, nothing works. So it's not like you really need them. Unless you just have to have them, because if I don't, that's not a real airplane. There are people like that, folks. So again, here's your co-pilot side. This is true. The hydraulics panel is here. Not so sure. I think the lights are here in most. And so overall, I think it's a pretty good rendition. Then we go up top. I've got it set up in 2 sets. Fuel panel, electrics, and pneumatics above. Okay. Speaking of which, let's go ahead, power up. All right. For those of you that have, and it is a little tricky here. So, we'll take it slow, but I want to get this thing going within, fired up here in the next few minutes. So follow along. All right. And don't think Captain Sim here. Okay. It is a little different. So you can't click this over. Now, you've got the battery switch on, and that turns it off. That's all you get. It does. This is a little ambiguous because technically you always go to hook it up to your lines. Okay. Now, APU is right here. I don't think that's correct on the real plane. I'm not really sure if he was after being correct, if that makes sense. Okay. Start it. You can see all the gauges doing all their neat little things. Way too fast. This plane does not fire up that GTC that quick. That's what it's really called, not an APU. All right, and then we have our bleed valve, which is already open. All we need to do, get the APU. See how that connected? That is correct. This should have lined up here to show the way the aircraft is set up. Same with this one, like these. You see how they're connecting? Now, we're not going to turn these over just yet. But I am going to go ahead and start. Even if it doesn't work, I'm going to go ahead and start heating up our nacelles, preheating them. Okay, bleed air's on. These are our engine bleeds, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think you only have to click 2 of them once we get going. All right, that takes care of everything up here. You're all going, oh, about over here and all. Unfortunately, yeah, that's all you get, folks. This doesn't move to auto or whatever. You don't get many of the, many of the lights we're used to in Captain Sim. And this shows that it should work, but I have yet to ever get it to work. All right, now come down to the fuel panel. You guessed it. Turn them on. And if memory serves, it's not like Captain Sim where now you got to go through and turn them all on. All your cross feeds come on. Now you can't, oh, that includes, everything is on now. You see how it connects the piping? That's what I was talking about. All right, next up. Go ahead and turn our enrichments on. Here's where we have had a lot of problem getting this thing to start. We're going to start up, first off, let's go ahead and get the avionics on. And at the same time, I'm going to go ahead. It won't. Let's just program it up real quick. comes the route for you again. All right, so we're going to go to route menu, F plan, KEOD, KEOD. Taking off a runway 23, execute, F plan. Next. Okay, so we're headed out to SDZ. Now, I'm not worried about the battery, folks, but I am going to go ahead and turn. Oh. Aux pump is on. Okay. All right, sorry about that, folks. Now, from here, we're going Victor. Tree 7, is it 3? To GSO. Then from GSO, direct volunteer. X. Oh, incorrect. Victor, X-ray, Victor. I thought I got it. Okay. Then we're going to go on the Juliet 46 to BNA. Execute. And there's the route, folks. And then go to VNAV. Next page. FL220. There you have it, folks. We are flight planned up to take off runway 23 out to SDZ VOR, then up the Victor 373 to Greensboro. All right, so here we go. Let's do it. Time to start the machine. Oh, wait a minute. Let's get some things on here. All right, and just showing you what you can and cannot see. We'll talk hopefully more about the autopilot here in a minute. We had troubles with it getting down here. Hopefully we might have overcome that. I'm thinking maybe not, but we'll see. All right, so starting them up. Okay, let's first let's make sure we don't have beacons up here at all. Nope, so come down here. Navigation beacon. Okay. So what I do, and this is not the correct way, folks. I click the blue dot. What that would do in the real world, set your blades so we only spin up like we're feathered in a way, and then we apply the, we taxi this way in beta, if you will, to the runway. Then we push them down to get our, like you do in a caravan. Keep it in low idle, go to high idle on your fuel valve, red condition lever at the runway. Same concept. Okay, so we got that on. You're going, man, you're hurting. And we got both yellow lights up there. Number 3 lit off. And if you don't believe me, there it is. Remember, that took forever. We got a little better at it. Oh, I see how this works now. Very un-Captain Sim there. But this isn't Captain Sim, so quick comparing, I know. Here comes the numbers up, and number 4 is running. Now, you could have left the main door open like they would in the real plane as the flight engineer. Make sure all the engines fire up, no fires to pull the fire extinguisher on it, move the fire extinguisher out. Now, I will pose a question, and I'll look back from time to time here, folks. And I'm going to put it also on the YouTube channel when this comes out. If you know how to make this drop cargo, it's supposed to be able to do that. I'd love to hear from you and get set up to do that, because that's one thing I really love doing. And that's what holds me up from flying this thing more missions than I do with Sim Air Force. All right, we are all 4 engines up and running. While they warm up, gonna get our radios. Being this is COM 2, we'll leave it, but I do want to put this in, and we'll show how to put this into action instead of the FMC if that's what you want. And it basically implores up here. Actually, right here. So, but I like putting the flight plan in here because now the bad thing is all I can do is the hang on a second. All right, so it's SDZ. And folks, if you want, this would be a real good section. This is how you program a X-Plane 530 flight plan. You can't do airways. However, if you have your navlog, you can load them all in. Or, in my case, I know this is pretty straight line flying. So what I'll do is put in first fix SDZ, Sierra Delta Zulu. So click push cursor so you have the highlight. Move it down to the next spot. And yeah, it's tedious. Sandhills, let me just make sure because I'm not 100% sure on everything. Yeah, Sandhills, okay. So press enter, accept. Now we're direct to Sandhills, okay. Then instead of putting all of the fixes that are along the 373, I think it is. Yeah, and it only looks like 1 or 2, but still, since it's a straight line, just put in GSO. And those of you that use SIVA for other aircraft, you know that little trick too. The only sucky thing to that little trip is when I need you to go direct such and such fix, and you're like, ay, ay, ay. We need a vector from Victor. All right, so the next up is Volunteer Victor. And sometimes it picks it up. See? Enter, enter. And then B and A. And yes, we could have done this before firing up and burning that precious oil in the engines. All right, so now you have multiples. So select the one you want. Obviously, we want this one. Enter. And enter. Finally, put your airport in here. Very critical. We'll show you why here in a second. You get it put in. Sabre, Air Army, enter, accept. All right, so there it is, folks, without the airways. Pretty cool, huh? Click flight plan. There. So there's our first leg out to SDZ and then up. And that got us out, how far? 50 miles. Okay. Now, I told you, why would we want to put in our final? Well, one, that gives you that last leg. Duh. However, we have procedures. I can select a departure. By the way, there are none. I don't even think I can select them. Okay, so it's all. Where are you? Clear. Now I can go to the arrivals and see. I know there's no arrivals, but there may be approaches. So we do have an RNAV GPS for 2-3 that we'll look up. We can attach anytime. I recommend prior to Nashville. I would do it probably around Volunteer, Knoxville. And that's all set, folks, and then the little red dot clears it to there. All right, so we are ready to go. The only thing I need to do is get us a flight plan. Just waiting on VATSIM. Hello, VATSIM. We want to make a flight plan. We want to make a flight plan. There we go. Call sign, Sim Air Force. 18 IFR C-130. K2030, CVG is the alternate. D2 is fine with a... Did I put the R up here? Yes. Okay. Nav. I use the same... Maybe. Where is it? Yeah, I didn't get rid of it. I got rid of it. Oh man, that stinks. Oh well, get it later. Dadgummit. I sure did. Sim RVR will go with 100 and EAK, we're good. Now you can't see this, but in our remarks for our flight plan we have www.simairforce.com. That lets them know we're with Sim Air Force. Now, technically, the website is different, but that will get you to them, I believe. Matter of fact, I'm going to check. But if you type up and you get iCrew, that's actually the one. Let's see what happens. It does bring you up. Cool. And then, of course, it gets you to the pilot area. Just wanted to make sure in case somebody wants to challenge me, because they are out there. People with not enough with too much free time on their hands, like those guys that fly simulators. Oh, wait, that's me. There you have her, folks, all fired up, ready to go. We really don't have a good checklist for this aircraft. Insuk, welcome. Inusuk, never mind, you know me, I can't ever get it right. Welcome in. Hawker out there too. Welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome. Oh. You're right, Hawker. Hype it up. Hype it, hype it, hype it. Ooh, I think I got a jam going. All right. Getting things set up here. All right, let's get into cockpit. Let's get the taxi checks done. Actually, let's finish up the startup. Make sure we have everything set, like generators, leads. See how you only have to click one? Pitot heat. We'll go with the engines. We'll leave those off AOA. And we'll turn the windshield heats on. Yeah, all of this worked on Captain Sim, so that's why I'm a little bummed on it, folks. And shut the APU down. Alright, we'll leave it, even though it doesn't matter. Okay, fuels are good. Hydraulics all on. And yeah, folks, there are a bunch of switches. Okay, and so you can see what we just set for flaps. That's actually, let me just see if I can pull it up where it pulls up to. Let's take a look outside. Yeah, we'll go with that. All right, here we go. How about we turn some taxi lights on? And let's head out to the runway. Again, runway 23. Little bit too much there, Austin. They really don't rev up that loud, folks. Of all the versions of the 130, besides the snow ones, I like the slick wings. I think that's the neatest of them all. All right, we are ready to go. really shocked I didn't get an auto ATC. I must have been because I was moving. But we'll continue down Alpha. But folks, today ought to be fun. I always have troubles with this plane. So we'll kind of hope for the best here. Currently here at Pope, winds are 210. As of 6 minutes ago, 15, gusting to 22. 300. Okay, cross-checked, all good. I do want to pull up when we get to the end of the runway, the frequency out here, 111.8. Part of me really, well, you know what? Let me see. Can I? Yes, I can. All right, up here at the end, we are going to take the assault runway for takeoff. Hawker 125 knows all about that one. And folks, if you do get a chance and you see him streaming, I highly recommend you get over there and watch him. He is actually working on putting together a flight sim out of a real world Hawker 125 400 fuselage that he has in his garage. Not going to be full motion, but he's trying to get all the bells and whistles to work in it. So he hasn't done a whole lot with it yet, other than the preliminary, trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work. But we'll be at hand helping him in the creation of this when and if he calls for help. Check him out there over at the Hawker 125 stream. And while you're there, hey, give him a follow. He would sure appreciate that. All right, as promised, I want to hold here. Get down here, make sure my radios are set right. Okay, that is not right. Okay, and then over here, did I say it was 1-1? Decimal 8, okay. Greensboro will be 16.2. This is what's aggravating. Click through. Alright, so everything's set. Flaps are at 20. We're ready to go, folks. Pope Air Force Base traffic. Sim Air Force 18 departing on the assault runway. 23 left. Oh well, we're in the grass. I didn't know if it would be able to make the turn, or if they would really indeed. Alright, here we go, folks. We're cleared for takeoff. That is not a clear sky. Sorry, folks. What do we call it? Clear in 10? Yeah. Here we go. Brakes on. Max power just about ready to be set. 80% and stable. All gauges look good. Lights on. No warnings. Here we go. And rotate. It's fun to land on these runways. Gear up. So far, so good. Distance 20 miles. All right. Set cruise. Okay, we're making our turn. Distance 20 miles now. And this is about a typical climb out. Between 1,000 to 800 to 1,000 feet a minute. We are in that restricted area, by the way, folks. Now, technically on VATSIM, so long as they are not, out there doing anything, shouldn't be any problems for us. Okay, now I'm going to go back to heading, and I'm going to go ahead and Dial in 1620 here. I should have done this earlier. There you have it, folks. Hey, that was actually a pretty decent departure this time. So we're on our way. Yeah, this is, yeah, clear skies, yeah. I guess, okay, I guess, yeah, it is clear, but I don't know where we're getting cloudiness to give us the rain. Unless Fayetteville, maybe they're METAR, I don't know. There you have it, folks. All right, now off of SDZ. 342. So in essence, this is a guesstimation game. Okay. Now, I need to come down here, though, and flip my radio. Or do this. And then go into Loc, and it should pick it up. Actually, it's going to try to intercept the line and then go. So what I'm going to do, come into the flight plan. Oh, go here. Oh, move it down to GSO. Menu. Activate that leg. Now, what's going to happen is, hopefully, it turns itself back to intercept. Yep, there it goes. And there's 10,000 feet. I definitely want to have her. And lights can now go off. Okay. Things looking good here, folks. As we now press on to our altitude selected of 22,000 feet. Again, folks, hope you enjoyed. That should have got us off the ground much earlier than we're used to, just because it's such a simple airplane. Although, in many ways, it takes at least 2, if not 3 minimum to fly a C-130, because you actually do have a flight engineer. He would normally sit, sorry folks, here. Well, hang on, I'm going to back out. In the chair right ahead of me. And basically, he's controlling a lot of the overhead and also a lot of your fuel thrust settings right there in between, leaving the flying literally to the pilots at this point. And then you have sometimes a navigator sitting here, running the GPS and, you know, checking to make sure we're on course and all of that good stuff. So yeah, there's a lot that goes on these planes. All right, so we are on our way, folks. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of screenshots, folks. Believe it or not, I don't really have a lot of this one. So there you have it, folks. Like I said, for the cargo side of the house, folks, it really is not all that bad. It's when we start digging into the nuances of doing an assault landing on that little runway we took off on. Switch it over to dirt, grass, gravel. That's when flying the Herc becomes a little on we'll call it funner. There we go. And that shows us, in case we had a problem, places we can begin to think about. Just like it does here. All right, folks, so there you have it. The C-130 en route to Sabre Auxiliary Field over by Fort Campbell. And I'll tell you right now, before you tell me you're going to tell me I'm flying it too slow. Correct. What I'm working off of here, folks, is making sure we don't go redlining too much to potentially, and I'm not going to say it'll happen, but we might redline and put an engine on fire. Alright, so I hope you all enjoy. Hey folks, if you're new to the channel, I'd love for you to smash that follow button and follow along. If you like the content, I'd love to see you on future flights. Tomorrow we'll be back in Europe. If you're on Twitch right here, look below, down in the about, tell you the flight tomorrow. But I really do hope to see you all if you'd hit that follow button. If you're over on YouTube, say you missed something because of those nasty commercials that come up every 20 minutes. Hey, I believe for the most part it's ad-free, could be wrong. But subscribe over there. We'd love to have you aboard, and that way you would know when new videos are released over there. Now, granted, we're not live over on YouTube. It's just basically a rebroadcast. But thanks again for coming aboard, being a part of Flying with Mike. It always is a pleasure, folks. All right, we are just about to go through transition here. So we'll set our altimeter to 2992. Now, one other thing, if you join a virtual special ops group that we talked about in the beginning, so folks, if you did miss that conversation, hey, it'll be in the beginning of the video over on YouTube. But if you do join, realize you gotta fly on VATSIM. That's really the only reason to do this, folks. Now, you could do practice, you know, where you get familiar, more comfortable with your plane before you launch out on a mission. But for it to count with most virtuals, you gotta be on VATSIM. One, so the virtual organization, they have to meet criteria with VATSIM for the privileges they're awarded, and you, the pilot, as well. So I did forget to say that, so I do want y'all to understand. But if you are interested, some Air Force is always looking for pilots. Here's a link. Check them out first, like I always tell you, folks. And make sure you're okay, because it's a different type of flying. Just like if you're flying GA, well, that's different than flying airliners. Just like helicopters, well, they're just, well, I don't even know how we even call them flying, because they really shouldn't be. Just kidding, folks, I know. But theoretically, it shouldn't fly. It's that very simple aerodynamic law that says you put enough power behind a brick, it will fly. That's how the C-5 flies. All right, through 18,000, we got 4 to go, folks, and then we'll be at our cruise altitude. Over, right now, we're pretty much over the Smoky and Blue Ridge Mountains. Actually, I guess this would be the Blue Ridge. Well, I tell you, when I see interstates and flight sims, and they look like that, I'm like, whoa. I mean, I drove out there, and gosh, I hope I read signs right. Wow. There she is, folks, the mighty C-130H model. And this one is from xhanger. Alright, so you can see the X-plane clouds looking good. It's just I wish, my one big wish right now with X-plane, if it says clear skies, why is it raining? And that I would love to know where I need to get that fixed. Is it my FSUIPCXS, however that spells out? Does that need a higher update on it? I don't know. But it just cracks me up about every flight I fly. Folks, I could put it in probably clear skies and somehow it would say rain. It just boggles the mind. So, and the other thing, and this is not anything to do with X-plane whatsoever. What I would love to see, and I may have to just buy Active Sky, get a good hurricane model producing program, which Active Sky was known for back in the early days, 2004 FSX early. Boy, did they do a great job. But get a mod for a C-130 to, let us work our way to the eye like they do, the hurricane hunters. Oh, would I love that. And get a good snowbird version of this too for Antarctica. But that mod would involve back in here. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to go and give it a shot, see how well, it generates the weather, around it, and not within such a confined space. Let's open it up like Active Sky of Microsoft did. I want to say it had a range, well, as long as there was a buoy, boom, it could then interpolate off of that. And I'm here to tell you, folks, there's a couple hurricanes I flew on it in a century of flight, which, by the way, was Microsoft's, and still is Microsoft's, best simulator ever put out. Where I actually flew the conditions that were really occurring with that hurricane. It just floored me that it was that accurate. So, oh, it did not pick up our course turn. All right, I'm glad I looked, because I'm like, something's not right. We should have been turning by now. All right, so let's go ahead, take over with heading. Not really sure why it didn't. We're gonna get back down here. All right, and we need a heading off of here. 19. Really wonder why it didn't pick it up. Well, I know another way to do that, and I'll get you on it here in a second, folks. Now, that doesn't seem right. Wait a minute. That just 272, my bad. There we go. Still pretty good intercept. Get us on there. All right. Yeah, I'm going. 191 is not going to get us to volunteer. 270 miles. Volunteer is 16.4. We'll try something else here in a minute, folks. volunteers 16.4. All right. By the way, if you're ever curious, there's your big squawk codes to stay away from. I was doing a good job tracking the VOR, I'll tell you that much, folks. Why it did that? Let's kind of zoom in. Auto. There's why. I was on nav 2. All right, so now make sure there isn't anything else. No, let's see if that turns us direct. All right, there we go. That's what I did wrong. Okay. You actually you can click it twice, but if you put it on nav2, it's going to work off your nav2 information. So, all right, and for those who subscribe to the channel, thank you so much. You're the only ones, it looks like right now at the time, on for the ad-free viewing. However, if I do have some followers or new folks still on, that's how you can watch us ad-free, is by clicking subscribe. Either with Prime, it's a little cheaper that way, or, you know, the normal Twitch fee, $5. So. Hey, we'd appreciate it. We take that money, folks. We put it into the stream. We just bought the V-Flight Piper Arrow. We've flown it a couple times on here. I'm going to tell you right now, folks, that is a really hidden gem. I don't see a lot of people flying that. Wow. What a plane. So check that one out, folks. We also this aircraft, the TOLUS aircraft we fly, the 747-200, all of them, folks, except for Zebo, purchased off of the subscriptions, donos, and biddies and all that come in. The reason I left Zebo out, folks, that is a hidden gem of X-Planes world. That's a free aircraft. That is better than PMDG. So if you're in that other world, the Microsoft world, you know I really said a lot, and it is better than that aircraft. The only thing that makes PMDG better is the fact you have the ability to get the whole 6, 7, 8, 900 fleet. But to me, I'm dead set, love flying that 737-800. So what a plane. And it's free. So good Lord. So that's where the subscription money goes to. Now, if you're over on YouTube and you click subscribe, that's a whole different, that's just like following here at Twitch. It's free, and it just lets you know when videos are released. But subscribers, thank you so much. Boy, I'll be honest, I never thought I'd even get one, let alone the the half dozen or so that I have, thank you so much for your generosity. I really do appreciate it. And I hope I do justice to the aircraft we do bring on board. We are getting ready to do another purchase. It's 3 aircraft that I'm trying to work myself through. Which one do I really like, and then which one would my audience really like? it's you know, you hate that kind of decision. And then I of course go, okay, you know, throw me to the side. What does the audience like watching? And that's what I've been trying to gauge here for the last couple of weeks. And that's where the Piper Arrow came in. I'm trying to see, is it GA they'd like to see, or is it, you know, something else? So, and I'm here to tell you folks, wow, that is probably the best GA aircraft I've ever flown on X-Plane. Very solid, stable flying platform. The way I remember it, flying it not only this past summer, flying with my uncle in his aircraft, but when I flew back in the 80s in that aircraft. Oh, I love the Arrow. Just loved it. So, thank you all very much. Followers, oh my gosh, thank you so much. It's without you folks. I mean, you all of you are the glue that holds Flying with Mike together. Thank you so much. I think that made sense. All right, and I am now finally flying the GPS. Hey, we found out, hey, the nav works real good. I may actually switch back and fly on it anyway. What the heck? What we'll do here is just switch over to heading. Punch up here. Get my course in here right. 272-ish. Back to nav. We'll just stay on the navs. You know, I know a lot of people prefer flying at nav to, you know, nav 8 to nav 8. Why not? And all she's going to be doing right now is writing herself onto that course we have set on the OBI right here on your HSI. This is called an HSI, horizontal situation indicator, your primary flight display, or here your RMI. Oh gosh, there's one I'm not fully familiar with. Airspeed, your altimeter, and VSI, vertical speed indicator. In a normal 6-pack, this is a turn bank indicator. That is right here. And what that does, folks, is when you go into a turn, okay, you get your bank indicated right here. You'll see, let me kind of zoom on it so you get a little bit of a schooling by private pilot me. This little arrow, right, or triangle, it's going to go whichever way you're banking. There's 30, 45, 60, 90. Now, when you get to this point, rudder helps out. I'm sorry. Elevator. I think I did say it. Elevator begins to do a lot more than your rudder will to help kick you over. Because you'll notice, where is it at? It's now, that's your back there to help kick you around on your yaw. And that's what this does, is your yaw. So as you put it in a bank, theoretically it won't turn until you apply a little rudder to start banking it, making it turn. I could never get it to do that though. Every time I banked it, it went that way. Alright, we're starting to see an issue growing here, folks. Let's see if it rights itself. How about we do this 16.4? What I'm gonna do, Get us back under that, come down here, click up 16.4. And should be in range. Yeah, we're 134 out. Let's go ahead now, go to nav. Am I pushing the right button here? Okay, let's see if we can't intercept in a better way here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull 1088 Snowbird here as our cross so we can see the RMI and how we can use that. All right. See, now the primary is this is VOR1, the straight line. The thick line is VOR2. Currently, it's, so theoretically, we should be about right here. Between right, anywhere right in this sector, with it pointing the way it is. Yeah, because back here, it's pointing away from the VOR. We could confirm that. Are we in range? I don't think we're in range. Okay. Because I notice we're about 120 miles out. Total leg length, folks, is, oh, it's starting to come alive now. .053. Okay, so we've already passed 053. I think. Let's go ahead and set it for now. See what happens, because we're still trying to come in range at 75 miles out. So we've still got a little ways to go. It'll settle down here in a minute once all the flags are gone. And then when we come up on 053, it'll center. Then we'll put it to north and then, you know, out from it. And that's how you can kind of get a gauge on where you are. Right now, we're just pushing outside of it. Now we're just taking into effect the wind. I hope. All right, now that should put us right on our course. Let's take a look down below. We're a little off up here. Here's our winds. You can get an idea of what we're battling with the wind. And it looks like we're right on course down here. So, and again, but we're ranged out a little further. We're at least 50. Here we're... So, all right. So we are pushing through right now the Smoky Mountains. But again, I really do want to say thank you to all of you that are on the channel here, be it lurking, be it with us, listening and watching, enjoying the content, learning from my mistakes. And folks, great airplane. The biggest pitfall with it, I think, is just some of the visual here with the panel. The whole thing is a little, you know, you can't individually work your fuel and all of that up here. Same with this part of the panel. Parts of it work, parts of it doesn't. If you're a Captain Sim C-130 pilot, yeah, it's a little let down. But let's say the most important thing about it. Thank you, xhanger. It's a C-130 operating in X-plane. Thank you. And I think right there says it all. Thank you so much. And allows me just one more aircraft I can use over here. Because otherwise I'll fire up FSX or a Century of Flight. All right, now let's see how our gauge is doing. All right, so it looks like it's beginning to settle down here. So when this needle crosses this mark, we will cross approximately the 053 radial off Snowbird, S-O-T. Then, like I said, I'm going to set it to 360, due north. And then I'm going to set it to 333, 305. If you're looking here, let me show you. Where am I getting these numbers? Some toolkit. All right, so you can actually see how we've been doing here. See how we overshot here and so forth, undershot here, and that's what caused it. We're finally now on course. But here is how I know. Let's go into sim brief. Oh, correction, Sky Vector. Okay, I am going to change how this map looks. Have it on the sectional view. I'm going to go to, I think L25 will take care of most of this. Okay, so we're working off this VOR right here, Snoper. So as you can see, I have Victor 136053. I have another 517 intercepts us, as well as 185. So at that point, folks, if I'm, right here, here, and here, now theoretically I would have to know the mileages to know if I'm dead on course without that GPS. That's the old days. But it at least gives me an idea of where, okay, so say I'm trying to figure out where in the heck am I? Well, right here. When I cross this, then I know somewhere along this line I'm there. Especially if I'm tracking Knoxville, Volunteers VOR. I've got it dead on. Okay, so I know I should be on this radial or very close to it. When I get these to come across, then I know that's where I should be. Now, and then I've got the mileage right here, 76 off that VOR. Well, right now we're 36 miles off. I think it's starting to move. We'll watch. But anyway, that's how you would do this without this and these. And the good thing is, yes, this one's independent, folks. So there you have it, folks. That's how you can fly these and know where you are. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Sim Toolkit here. By the way, folks, if you want Sim Toolkit, it is free. Google it. I can look it up for you. But it is a free utility for you. And I would highly recommend, if you don't have Sim Toolkit, at least Volanta. It, at least as you can see on there, tells you, a lot of information when you open it up. Let me get it back up here. Get rid of that. Now you can add this stuff. Sky Vector you can easily add. The other two, you just click this little cog. But this whole thing, folks, is tools to help you flight plan. See what radar ATCs are up. You notice? None up right now. And, well, technically Atlanta is, but we're not zoomed out enough. I'm not sure how Atlanta would show. Nah, it's not showing up. The old where you got like SimAware where it draws all the lines. But Chicago's online. We're just not seeing it on XPilot because we're either too low, too far away. But you can see all the traffic around you. I've got a plane at 38,000 ahead of me, 24 climbing out of Charlotte for Louisville. Sorry, folks. My mind is having a hard time. The one ahead of us is coming out of Detroit for Atlanta, and Atlanta does have approach up. Also, Raleigh-Durham is up, but again, and you can see that ground is available if you were there. So, Chicago looks like it might have dropped. Make a run for it, guys. Run for it. Oh, but anyway. This is about where Knoxville, and if I zoom in, you'll start seeing the tags for where we're headed. There's Nashville, one for JFK, from JFK, either just arrived or about to. And then we're going right out here. Fort Campbell is just a pinch, just a real dot right away from it. And that other airport. So it's going to be fun to make sure we line up on the right airport. Alright folks, and with that, what I am going to do is step away for a second, leave you with the mighty Hercules over the bumpy grounds of the Appalachian Mountains, otherwise known as, well, it's giving it away, the Smokies. Be right back. I just got a couple things I need to take care of. 1 second. All right, folks, back with you. All right, we are approaching volunteer VOR. We got about 20 miles, call it. I noticed an airport right down below us. Hang on a second. Yeah, right there. I'm trying to figure out where it is. Okay, we're gonna bear with me a second here. I think that might be Gatlinburg. It is. That is Gatlinburg. Why is it not showing up here? Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. All right, so like I said, in this area, we would start looking towards our, you know, what are we going to do when we get to Sabre? More than likely a visual approach, just so you all know. Sorry, folks. A lot of great screenshots here. All right. Hopefully I'm taking pictures. I did this once and ended up with a bunch of videos. Let's see. Oh yeah, we're getting really good shots. Good. All right, so hopefully they look better. Anyway, let's get set up here for the turn. What heading? What heading indeed? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna get rid of this. $280. All right, so again, get us pointed that direction. 7 miles out, heading 280. Okay, and BNA is, for those not familiar with the call letters, you should be, that is Nashville. Nashville. Okay, I'm going to have to switch to something easier. The VOR, where is it? It's 14.1. All right. So we are going to continue this heading till this lines up. Once we get real close here, we'll then swing on to it. Let's make sure. This should be within, yeah, 137 miles should not be a problem. Oh, wait. Yeah, it is. I just realized what's going on. We're crossing the VOR, folks. You got to click it up. All right, so we're going to have... Then it's 46 miles. We'll use Clarksville VOR 106 to start us in that direction. Okay. I think we finally got it to calm down. All right, so we definitely need to now get our game plan going. So let me bring in charts. Now I could do this on Sim Toolkit, but you lose a lot, and I didn't reset it. Sorry, folks. All right. Couple of ways you can do this. I could bring up the FMC, and we work right here, and here's our options. Or bring it up here and go to procedures. We'll do both. Now we know, well, we think we know that our arrival is going to be 2-3. So let's find out if that's going to be true. With charts 8, you can pull up the weather. Currently it's 260 at 7, 9 miles visibility. Clear, we'll see. Sorry, Austin, I have to say it that way. We'll see. And probably see rain. 3006 on the altimeter when we start our descent. Okay. All right. So with this information, 2-3 is good. So let's see. So it's suggesting that we come in on the either the final or the XA or 2-3. Okay. Well, let's take a look at it first before we go. Okay. Now we could come in from gunship to XA and come in. Nothing wrong with that, folks. So I'm going to go ahead, select, and let's see. I'm going to go ahead and put XA on. I'm pretty sure it's going to put us into a direct entry into the hold. We're not going to do the hold. Okay, so that one's set. Now, we'll come over here, go to procedures. Let me make sure this is showing up like it should. It is. Okay. Approach. Enter. Scroll it down with the outer wheel to the RNAV. Enter. Gunship or XA. Let's come down here. Enter. Enter. Now, what has that done? Basically, it is loaded to where once we cross BNA, which is where we're headed, volunteer to BNA, then we'll click procedure, activate approach. It's going to do the hold. Well, we can actually override that and then come in. So we're set up for the most part now. Now we just got to get to B and A. Now here you see suggested altitudes. Okay. So before we go any further, so we got our FMC set up, which we're not flying on. We're going to go to and we'll add that to the route. Okay. So we're going to come in, we're going to do the hold, come in. No, we're going to come in and we're going to turn in on it. Okay, there is no VOR other than, notice along the way here, Clarksville, 110.6. We'll track in on it, but by Clarksville, we should see it. Okay, and then here's the main campus for Fort Campbell. This is, again, just a auxiliary field where most of the helicopters are kept. And hey, you guys who spent time at Fort Campbell, Sabre, feel free to correct me. I'm not saying I know everything out here, because I just, know Fort Campbell. I used to park at a truck stop like right about off the end of the runway here a lot, because we did a lot of business towards Nashville and down towards Atlanta. So a lot of nights I would either spend it there, grab some grub, head out back on the highway, or take a nap. So I've only been up the US, I think it's 40, no, it's not 40. Is it 45? I can't remember. Anyway, whatever the highway is, no, it'd be 41. And I've been by the main gates, but that's as close as I got. Never went on the base. Don't want to go on the base. So I've never seen this satellite field. I might have seen Clarksville, but again, that's a long time ago. So feel free to correct me, guys. But yes, as Nightbot says, I am flying for Simulated Air Force, a virtual special operations group, or VATSIM. And if you're flying flights for credit with them, you need to be on VATSIM. And make sure in your remarks you put that you're with Sim Air Force. So if you're going to go do some air-to-air training, air refueling, low-level dropping, anything militarily related, that way the controllers won't get all over your case until you tell them that. Alright, so you can see we have drifted south of the line. So what I am going to do I have yet to figure out why I am set for the proper inbound course. Hang on, I know. For 137 miles, yet I am nowhere near that on my course. So, alright, we're going to get back towards B&A. I'm just going to lock it in. Oh well, again, this is the things I had trouble with flying, and it never made sense to me. All of a sudden, a whole bunch of cloudiness here. Let's see. Sparta. Okay, it is reporting clouds. And they are reporting clouds outside of Nashville and Lebanon. Smyrna is, as is Nashville. So, hey, at least what we're seeing out the window cloudiness-wise is correct. Oh, yeah, and by the way, joining a virtual special operations group for VATSIM. Hang on, let me see. Get rid of charts here real quick. Bring in Sim Toolkit. Hang on a second. Okay, I need to have that there. That ain't gonna help. All right, real quick. Let me bring up Sky Vector. Okay, we're off volunteer. All right, now you see this tan route my mouse is following? Okay, I saw another one here. Anyway, oh, right here. Those are military low route runs. Either if it says IR instruments, if it says VR visually. You would be allowed to run those, and you can get what's a flip. Some of the groups actually have links to the flip, some don't. Let me see if you go to VF, you can see them. Yeah, here they are. They're gray on the sectionals. But again, the flip will tell you what the coordinates are for each turn point and the parameters you need to be at. And that's what you fly. Pretty fast speeds, folks. So, oops. Yeah, we need to make that turn on course. All right, so there we go. But anyway, that would allow you to fly those. Now, those can get fun. I will never forget a run that I did down in Alabama. I want to say I was going from Huntsville over towards Florence, and a C-130, I mean, and they can go above 250 on those folks. And he was just hauling right over us, probably 1,000 feet, at the most 2,000. And, you know, they're not canyons like you saw in Maverick, but still, they get in there and they were going at it. I want to say A-10s I've seen on it too, and any airplane can fly them, folks, in the military. But for VATSIM, you got to be with a VSOA in order to be allowed to file the flight plan. Now, the problem that comes in with VATSIM that I have run into, not many of the controllers are how do I want to say, educated enough in VATSIM procedures to know proper formatting in this. I was getting ready to do a tank run out of Enid for somebody. I forget what it was. A friend of mine worked the tower out here. Came up and said, my call sign, you ready for your clearance? And I said, yeah. He goes, do you want it to be what a real world one would? Because I knew he was a military controller. I said, yeah, give it to me. And it was exactly how I heard it on the scanner in the operations center. And I'm like, oh, he goes, and then he helped explain it a lot to me as best he understood. And I was like, oh. So yeah, we ended up flying under a real, what, you know, out in that region, tanker formatted flight plan. So But when you get a controller like that working with you folks, take it in. Sometimes you'll listen to the scanner, and I feel for some of these because it's a full flight plan rewrite, and they've got to type or coordinates all of these, however they're set up, into the aircraft. Not pretty. From what I've heard, I've never had to do it, so. But anyway, check them out, folks. If you're into military aviation, you want to do some on VATSIM, check them out. They'll get you going. And yes, they are affiliated with DCS as well, so you can actually then go up and do actual air-to-air combat, air-to-ground, you know, missions, tanking. You can tank on VATSIM. The only problem is sometimes you're not right. You know, it doesn't show up right under each other, whereas DCS it does. There we go again, drifted off. All right, so I've done a lot of talking here, folks. From BNA, we're only 50 miles out, so probably here in the next 20 miles we're going to begin our descent. And what I'm thinking, I'm going to first look at my chart. Let me get rid of Sim Toolkit here. Looks like Atlanta Center just came up. Yep, and I wonder if they were just waiting on me. Sometimes I do wonder that. Anyway, but yeah, we'll just keep tracking for, within the next 10 to 20 miles, we'll start our descent. So our minimum to safe altitudes appear on the IFR chart here, low level. Jeez. Uh, 5,000, 4,500 to the east of Nashville, 3,200 to 20. So why don't we come down to about 10,000 feet until we cross Nashville. Then we'll bear up to Clarksville. Clarksville's reading clear, Springfield's reading clear, so we should see the edge to these clouds here real soon. And I'm just following the needle, folks. All right, let's bring in the chart real quick again. I didn't get really to talk much about it. Okay, ATIS is 3065. That is a UHF channel, folks. So we'd have to go off of Campbellsville or Clarksville. Campbell approach, Sabre Tower, Sabre ground, RNAV approach. Final approach course 227, Warwick's, which if you look at the chart is 5-mile final, 2,200 feet or 1,600 feet above the ground. Minimum descent altitude is 1,060 before we need to see the runway. That's 473 feet above the ground. Should a missed approach be called, climbing left turn to 2,400 feet, direct XA, where the hold started, and guess what? Hold. All right. Use local altimeter setting if not received for Campbell's. And pilot controlled lighting. If it was dark enough, I'd go for it and give it a try. Minimum safe around the airport is 2,700. Real world, folks, you would be concerned with a lot of helicopter traffic. Okay, we're coming into XA, which is 13 miles out. We'll make our turn inbound to Warwick's, then for the runway. Again, 2,400 feet or above at XA, 2,200 feet at Warwick's. Descending in, for us, will be right around 600 feet per minute. Straight in landing on LNAV, there's our minimums, V1 or 500 feet. That's helicopters, I'm pretty sure. All right, so there you have the approach, folks. We're approaching Nashville. Let's get us a little cutting in turn here. And we'll get ready to make the turn off of here. Set this back up here. Not sure if we're going to bring it into play or not. We'll see. For now. Okay. Currently 17 miles out, starting our descent. All right, folks, any questions, comments? We'd love to see it in the chat room.
Nashville traffic swoop 749, taking off runway 20 center.
Love for you to hit that follow button if you're new to the channel and or lurking. If you're watching us on YouTube, boy, I'd love you to smash that subscribe button, join the family, and welcome aboard. Alright, currently they said to go off Fort Campbell, which is Hopkinsville. So it'll be 30:03. Clarksville, which, like I said, folks, is very close by. We're looking at 30:04 and pretty good weather, 320 at 9, 10 miles clear. So it's 19 degrees Celsius. So really, we're looking at pretty good weather. Oh, excuse me. Okay, we're about to set and...
Natural traffic, swoop 749, clear of the field.
See what happens here. Seems to be making the turn. Alright, we also need to come over here. Oh, we are on Nashville. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and put 110.6 down here too. Alright, and final approach course. We said was 227. All right, now the flags are on because that is, you know, out to Hopkinsville. Now, how are we doing? Okay. Now we just click activate approach. And we are dead on for Nyax. And then we turn in for the airport. All right, we're going to begin slowing. Got 40 miles, a lot of ways to go down. Now we'll just all right. Oh, we're 32 miles out. A lot to lose. All right, so what I'm going to do. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do a quick circle here, 360 to get us down. Because I definitely want to be at 2400 or very close to it by the initial. Alright, we're about to turn back and see how we did. Goal is to just intercept this heading, which should be about a 325-ish. All right, lights. No auto brakes, folks. We don't have to worry about that. Okay, here we go. Getting ready to re-intercept our line to Nixie, or Nixay. Just as we enter the clouds at 9,200 feet. So if a controller would want us to relay conditions, we'd say tops at 9,200 feet right now. And again, remember cloud tops at Clarksville is clear. Oh, now we have a few clouds at 5,500. Over at Hopkinsville, clear. We don't have any weather at Sabre. Theoretically, we should pop out at 5,500. Okay, here we go, folks. Alright, so just so you all know, my game plan is a landing speed right around 100, or approach speed of about 120, landing this thing at about 90. And we're about 20 miles out of Nashville. Can't tune the VOR here because I'm pretty much thinking I can almost tune directly to it. But sure, I've done this because we got just enough time to. Okay, I've got 110.6. 110.6. Okay. Told you we'd run into rain, by the way. It's nowhere in the METAR, but yet X-Plane says it's raining. Okay, we got about 20 miles to Nixie. And then we're going to turn in for the airfield. Again, we don't want to mistake Clarksville for them, so. Plenty of fuel. All right, folks, we're about to level off. We're going to let the aircraft control itself here at 220 while we begin our approach. And here we go. All right, we do see the clouds that are being reported at Huntsville. I'm sorry, correction, Clarksville Outlaw Airport. It's 46 miles, so we're about where we need to be. Well, I can already tell you, folks, the weather is not what the VTAR says. Okay, there's Clarksville right below us right now. I'm like almost out of state trim, folks. Is that the run ahead of us? I think so. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell y'all, it's like a 4,000-foot runway. Full flaps. Okay, gears down, flaps full. Ready as I'll ever be. Hey, we'll be landing. Granted, this is where helicopters land, folks.
Sync rate, sync rate, sync rate.
We're going around. I don't think it went into reverse thrust. There's your outlaw airfield right there. Then Hopkinsville would be the one way up at the north there.
1,000. Sync rate, sync rate, sync rate. Minimize. 200. Sync rate, sync rate, sync rate, sync rate, sync rate, sync rate. Sink rate. Sink rate. Sink rate. Sink rate.
Alright, well, that was a rough one. Alright, folks, well, welcome to Sabre Field here at Fort Campbell. Yeah, it looks like we hit the engine over there, why it's not spinning. That was a rough landing, I will say. Alright, and yes, we'll upload it, folks. I always tell you, we don't just do the warm and fuzzy. Good, the bad, the ugly. That was one of the uglies. There really is no good parking spot for me here, so what I'm gonna do is this. Each of these boxes, folks, is where a helicopter will park. All right. Well, folks, gonna say I already know the numbers are not gonna be pretty. We'll see here in a second. Let me get this cleared. All right. Oh, and we didn't have the APU on. Oh well. All right. Well, that was not a very pretty landing. We'll say that right off the bat, folks. I think this is maybe the 6th flight we've done in this plane. So, not to excuse how poorly that was flown, but kind of sets a little bit of the tenor. All right, so yeah, okay. Filed it. Hang on a second, folks. Alrighty, so let's take a look at this very poor landing. Ouch. Definitely is an ouch. I just came off VATSIM. Yeah. Been a while. If we'd have gotten the reverse thrust to work on it the first time, 550 would not have been a bad landing. However, 1,469 feet, that is not a good landing, folks. So, oops, sorry, I just took it off my screen. All right, so let's go in here and just dissect it. Again, here's what we did. There's our little turnaround we did to get down in altitude. Let's go in and view the horrible details. Oh, man, what a... Boy, if I'd have been flying for some VAs, they'd have probably said, "You're fired. Just go. Leave. Don't come back." All right, so you can see, okay, first off, it's not a precision runway. It's at all. No markings hardly at all on it. You can see where we landed. I don't see where our prop hit the ground. But it did. This is the first attempt, folks. This is the one that said, "See, he can fly." No, not really. That was a bad landing, folks. Horrible. 104 knots. Actually, the second landing was 90 something. 550 feet a minute. Still horrible in any airplane. Um, and 1.5 Gs. So, yeah, not all that great. All right, folks. Well, there you have it. We got the C-130 in here, kind of, sort of. Parts of it are still sitting out there somewhere for the FOD patrol to find. But yeah, this was a okay run. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here, folks. Well, let's see if it'll let us rewind. I know a lot of you would like to see that again. I personally don't, but uh-oh, is it locked? It crashed to death. Even the sim crashed with it, folks. uh, that was not a good landing at all. All right, folks. Well, we're going to have to call it then. Call it what it is. A horrible landing here at Sabre Field. Probably should have gone to where I had a lot more runway. Oh well. Um, Let me give it about a minute here, folks. Folks, I do want to say thank you for coming out today. Thank you for being a part of Flying with Mike. You subscribers, awesome. Thank you so much for being a part. Followers and those that just pop in, pop out. Thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of Flying with Mike. We don't show anyone out there to raid to. So I just want to make sure I show that we've gone to ads for 30 minutes or 30 minutes. Sometimes I know it seems like that, folks. For our 1 minute ad break, I'm going to let it time out and then we're going to call it. So call it what it was. A great flight with a horrible landing. Great flight, yes. Horrible landing, unfortunately. All right, folks, and I don't know if we actually went to the ad break or not, but as I was saying, for those of you who may be coming out of the ad, great flight, horrible landing. Uh, so I hope you enjoyed a look at the xhanger C-130. Of course, we'll do more with it. We just got to get back in the saddle with it, get used to it. Folks, that narrow wheels in the back, that doesn't help a lot. So, but that's no excuse for how poor that landing was. And it's that balloon up that always seems to get me. So, all right, well, we're going to wrap it up, folks. Thank you again so much for being a part of Flying with Mike. We'll see you tomorrow as we depart Malaga, I believe Malaga in Spain for Budapest. God bless you all. Have a great day. We'll see you then.